New this morning, one person is under arrest after a U-Haul truck crashed into security barriers on White House grounds. No one was hurt. A spokesperson for the Secret Service says the crash may have been intentional. The suspect faces multiple charges, including threatening to kill or harm a president, vice president, or family member. No explosives were found. Video shows law enforcement packing up evidence, including a swastika flag. Authorities provided no information about that. Our local top story here, homeless camp crackdown. The San Diego City Council will soon vote on a ban on all homeless camps. Critics say it criminalizes homelessness. Thanks for being here at 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connard.
And I'm Dana Marie McNichol, filling in for Netta Arampur. Now today, homeless advocates will gather outside City Hall to protest this ban. CBS 8's Chris Groh is live downtown to explain what would happen if this proposed is approved. Chris?
Yeah, good morning, Eric and Dana Marie. And this group opposes this encampment ban in large part because they feel it violates the 8th Amendment, as well as a host of other rights here by those who are unhoused and living on the streets of San Diego. They're going to be protesting today at City Council. Now, this proposed ordinance is not on the agenda. However, this protest has been scheduled for 12 p.m. right in between two scheduled meetings there for the City Council. So again, it is likely the City Council going to be hearing and seeing this demonstration. Now, they're also, on top of the fact that they're fighting against this because of the violation of the rights, they're also highlighting the need for shelter beds first before a move like this is made. As for the proposed ordinance, if approved, it would prohibit people from setting up tents within 2 blocks of schools, homeless shelters, trolley tracks, transportation hubs, parks, and waterways, as well as other areas. It passed a necessary committee vote last month, but the encampment ban does still need a full City Council vote. It was initially proposed by Council member Stephen Whitbird, whose district includes a number of downtown neighborhoods that have been impacted by homelessness, and Mayor Todd Gloria has endorsed it as well. Whitbird has said, quote, in compliance with court rulings, the prohibition will apply only when there is available shelter. As for when he said that there is no shelter availability, the prohibition on encampments will always apply for areas that are high risk to health and safety, such as schools, trolley tracks, or open space. So for more information on this ordinance, as well as what both sides are saying, just go to CBS8.com and click on that story link. Eric and Dana Marie.
Chris, thanks for that. This morning, we are learning one of the victims of a gang shootout in Baja California was a San Diegan. The 22-year-old truck driver was among 10 people killed. Roberto Isaias Ayala leaves behind a 4-year-old daughter and his wife. A GoFundMe says he was an innocent bystander. The shooting happened at a gas station in San Vicente, south of Ensenada.
These were groups linked, one to the Sinaloa cartel and the other one to the remnants of what is called the Arellano Felix drug organization, or the Tijuana cartel.
Mexican officials also announced they designated a multi-agency task force to find the people responsible. This morning, new video showing a 4-year-old child being dropped from the top of the border wall here. CBP Chief Raul Ortiz shared this video. He says the child is okay, but this should serve as a warning not to trust smugglers. Agents and first responders say they were giving the child first aid when they heard gunshots nearby. No injuries were reported.
And this morning, community members in Jamul are on edge after 4 dogs were found shot and killed without any trace of who did it. A neighbor found the bodies piled and dumped on the side of the road. Each dog had been shot multiple times. Now, this is not the first time it has happened. A neighbor says something identical happened to her in 2019, and she received letters from an unknown sender.
Mean letters put on the gate. That happened 2 times. Boulders put in front of the fence. And the letters said stuff about the dogs.
I'm here by myself with those dogs. Those guys were like my family.
Now, both have filed police reports. The county says the Department of Animal Services is working with the Sheriff's Department on this case. And today, the County Board of Supervisors will discuss suggested alternatives to incarceration. A new report from SANDAG outlines 52 recommendations for San Diego's justice system. They include supportive services to prevent people from going to jail, as well as providing wraparound services that will keep people out of jail once they're released. The Board of Supervisors meets at 9 a.m. This morning, a delegation from Friends of Friendship Park is speaking to Congress and White House officials. They're hoping the talks will convince lawmakers to stop the construction of a 30-foot wall at Friendship Park. Construction started in January on that secondary wall. Construction on the primary wall has not started. Officials say the barriers are deteriorating and pose a threat to Border Patrol. Advocates say, though, it defeats the park's purpose, which allows families on both sides of the border to visit each other. And this morning, there's still no agreement on raising the nation's borrowing limit, and we're just 8 days away from a potential default. President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy sounded optimistic yesterday, but still no deal. Earlier this month, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin warned a default could also mean military personnel going without a paycheck. That would leave troops in military hubs like San Diego with little wiggle room in their wallets.
San Diego is adding 13 portable restrooms downtown after a series of hepatitis A infections among people experiencing homelessness. 28 cases have been reported this year. 17 of those were among homeless downtown. Hepatitis A can be spread through fecal matter. That can lead to a health hazard in areas lacking bathrooms. And this morning, there are 25 new members on the City of San Diego's new Commission on Police Practices. They were appointed by the City Council. This Citizens Oversight Board could suggest disciplinary action in incidents of officer misconduct. However, background checks and training could take up to a year and a half. This morning, restaurant owners near the coast must now replace any lost parking spaces taken up by outdoor dining areas. The City Council approved the new California Coastal Commission regulations yesterday. The Coastal Commission approved the measure in December. They argue outdoor seating in the street inhibits access to beach areas. The beach impact area will be most impacted by this new regulation. That's the quarter-of-a-mile thick stretch of coastline from Torrey Pines State Reserve to Sunset Cliffs National Park. The commission says the area is where public parking is most limited. All right, here we are taking a look outside here. Evan, how's it looking? Thick gray again here today?
That's right. Another day of May gray, and it seems like every morning to come we will still encounter that dense marine layer that stretches onshore pretty far off to the western slopes of the mountains in many cases, and then starts to pull back. The glimmer of hope that we can give you is the view from Otay Mountain facing east, but you can still see how below that beautiful sunrise, we've got those dense clouds in the bottom of the screen here. So we're going to watch out as those clouds start to break apart closer to your about early, I'd say about late morning, early afternoon time frame. Sunrise technically 5:45. Not many of us saw much of that actual sunrise, or at least the orange and red tones beaming on through. Instead, it was just that kind of static gray shot that we've seen for days on end now. Sunset's going to be at 7:46. That'll give us a better opportunity to actually see that sun go down. When you look outside, some of those clouds are low down to the ground. Ramona is at less than a mile of visibility. Kearney Mesa at 4 miles, and Otay Mesa at 8 miles. So we'll see that in many cases, as we've seen over the last several hours, some of those clouds are capable of producing a bit of mist, maybe a light drizzle out there. Just something to watch out for. If you notice damp roads, for example, that is still very typical with this marine layer present. Along the coast, because those cloudy skies are likely to show minimal clearing, we'll stay in the mid-60s. For your inland valleys, low 70s. Mountains are going to make it to about 73, maybe even towards 75, so mid-70s, and upper 90s out there for the deserts. Across the mountains and deserts in particular, we'll notice wind gusts this afternoon picking up, and that's where you see those purple and orange tones move in. 38 miles per hour for Borrego Springs this afternoon. If we go to tomorrow afternoon, we're in the 40s. And then if we go into your Thursday afternoon in particular, mountains and deserts see 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts in place. So it's going to get windier each afternoon. Important for any high profile vehicles over the mountains, for example, to be cognizant of that, and even some blowing dust is possible in the process. Now time for traffic. Here's a look at border wait times from the CBP website. It's 150 minutes for the general line at the San Ysidro Port of Entry and 65 minutes for the general line at the Otay Mesa Port of Entry. Head to cbs8.com/traffic. It'll let you know what the roads look like across our county on any of our major roadways. Back to you.